Have you ever gone out shooting in harsh sunlight and found a stunning landscape you just had to photograph? Unsure of the correct camera settings for nature photography in that scenario, you take the shot and it turns out like this. I'm here to help you understand the camera settings you need for harsh sunlight to make sure that doesn't happen again. In this video, we're going to be using manual mode, an aperture of f8, an ISO of 100, and a shutter speed of 1/125th of a second. Why those settings? Will they work? Stick around to find out. Hi, I'm Barry from Photographer's Freedom. I simplify DSLR and mirrorless photography, helping you capture nature with ease. The gear I'm using today is my Sony a6400. On the front of that, I have my Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. I am not using any filters, though I am using my lens hood because it's a sunny day and I don't want glare in the photograph. I'm going to be shooting handheld, no tripod. The settings I mentioned a moment ago are from my Sunny Landscapes card of my nature photography cheat card set. Those cards are designed to remove the guesswork. They give you a solid starting point for common nature photography scenarios like birds in flight, moving water, low light or dusk, and more. There's a link in the video description if you want to check them out. So I've got this nice scene here. You've got the tussocks or the scrub in the foreground, the water in the middle there, and the trees and the blue sky beyond that. This will make an okay photograph. As I said before, we're going to be in manual mode because at this point we want to make all the decisions. We don't want the camera controlling anything. I will show you how to do this in aperture priority mode later in the video. Now with landscape photography, aperture usually is the most important setting. Unlike with wildlife photography where we want to blur the background to make the subject pop out, with landscape photography you want everything in focus from the foreground all the way to the far horizon. That's called a deep depth of field. Depth of field is the amount of your photo that is sharp and in focus. Apertures such as f2.8, f5.6, they are a small f-stop number but a large aperture. They produce what's called a shallow depth of field where less of the image will be sharp and in focus. Larger f-stop numbers like f22, f32, they are a very small aperture and they produce a bigger depth of field. We're going to start with an aperture of f8, and at this point you might be thinking, whoa Barry, hang on a minute, you just said that the higher the f-stop number, the greater the depth of field. That is true, and when you first learn that, your instinct is to go, well hell, I'm just going to crank that up. I'm going all the way to f32 and I'm going to get a really deep depth of field and a beautiful sharp image. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way due to something called diffraction. Diffraction is where light waves bend and spread out as they pass through that tiny hole in your aperture, and what it does is it softens your image. You lose a lot of sharpness. That is why we're using f8, because it provides a nice balance between depth of field and sharpness. Many lenses are optically sharp around f8, so it avoids diffraction. That will soften our images. Next, we're going to set our ISO to 100. This is the lowest native ISO on many cameras. It captures the cleanest image, so not too much digital noise. It gives you the best dynamic range and basically your maximum image quality. In harsh light photography like this, there's usually no reason to raise your ISO above 100 unless it's windy and you need to freeze the motion of trees and stuff by using a faster shutter speed. You'd have to bump your ISO up in that case, but today it's not too windy. I think we'll be fine. Then we're going to set our shutter speed to 1/125th of a second. That's plenty fast enough to hold a wide angle lens like this and avoid camera shake. And since nothing is moving about today, like I said, it's not very windy, we don't need to use a really fast shutter speed to freeze the motion of anything. So 1/125th is good. So I've already composed the image. I kind of like the way it's going to look from this angle. So I'll take the photo, excuse my back for a second. Now I will focus. Now I can already see from the display in my viewfinder that this is going to overexpose a little, and that's fine. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Let me refocus and take the shot. And as you can see, that is a little bit bright. The sky is a little bit blown out and it's not a perfect result. The cheat cards provide a reliable starting point. Guys, there is no perfect God-sent camera setting that works for every situation. It's just not possible. Every location is different. You might have big white rocks in your scene. You might have a big swath of blue sky or a lot of white water. You might have darker trees or dark moss-covered rocks in the scene that are going to lower your exposure. Every situation is different. Also, every day is different. Like at the moment, it's winter here, so the sun is lower in the sky than it normally would be. And every camera is different. That's why I mentioned my gear at the start of the video, because every camera captures a different dynamic range. So sometimes you may need to adjust your shutter speed, your exposure compensation if you're using Aperture Priority, and we'll look at that in a moment. Your aperture, your ISO. Make small changes until the exposure looks right. So what I'm going to do, because it was just a little bit overexposed in the sky there, I'm just going to pump my shutter speed up to 1/200th of a second, and that's looking better. And that's not too bad. The sky still looks a little bit bright, but I could take that back in post-processing if I wanted to. We'll just take another one. I'll just crank the shutter speed up a little bit more. So I'll go to 1/250th of a second, and we'll see that, because that's starting to push my shadows a bit dark in that area, so that's not too bad. Now I'm going to take the same image using Aperture Priority mode. Now this is a semi-auto mode. The camera decides the exposure, you choose the aperture. So it will be marked on your mode dial as either A or AV if you have a Canon. So I've switched my camera to Aperture Priority mode, then I'm going to dial in f8, and I can just take the photo. I'm still focusing the same way. So, and I can see in my display here, the camera's choosing a shutter speed of 1/200th of a second. So I'll take the photo, and there we go. So if I thought that was a little bit overexposed, what I can then do is use exposure compensation to underexpose it a little bit. So I look for my exposure compensation button here on the camera, which is a little square that has a plus and a minus in it. So I'm going to hit that, and currently my exposure compensation is set to -0.7. So that's -0.7 of a stop. One stop is a doubling or halving of the amount of light. So if I want to underexpose that a little bit more, I can turn it down to -1, and I'll take the photo again, and now it's choosing a shutter speed of 1/250th of a second, just like I did before in manual mode, and we get the exact same result. So that's just another way that you can do it if you're a little bit scared of using manual mode. To recap, today's settings were an aperture of f8 to f11 if you're following my Sunny Landscapes cheat card, an ISO of 100, and a shutter speed of 1/125th of a second. They are intended as a starting point. You will have to tweak them for the conditions. If you'd like quick reference settings for common nature photography scenarios, check out my nature photography cheat cards. They're designed for beginners and cover situations like sunny landscapes, birds in flight, low light or dusk, macro, backlit trees, golden hour, waterfalls, and many more. They also contain tips and QR codes linking to video guides with more information. You'll find the link in the video description. You'll find more quick camera settings for nature photography situations in this video. If you got value today, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more bird, wildlife, and nature photography tips. Until next time, I'm Barry from Photographer's Freedom. Get out there, take some wicked shots. I'll see you soon.